Yes, guys, welcome back to Crossy Arsenal. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is your latest Arsenal news and transfer news as well. We're going to be talking about Thomas Partey because reports in Ghana indicate that Partey could stay at Arsenal in January and not join up Ghana in AFCON. Now, this is going to be a current trend because the likes of Amodou Onana as well are trying to do the same thing. Players are under pressure. They feel like they would rather stay at their clubs in January and fight for their places rather than going out there in AFCON for a whole month and probably coming back when they're no longer in the pecking order. We'll be talking about Partey staying in January, whether that actually is good for Arsenal and what that means for Ghana as well. We'll be talking about a duo that Arsenal are trying to sign come this January, and that is Toney and Amodou Onana. Amodou Onana is one of the players that Mikel Arteta thinks can replace Thomas Partey. So if Partey is going to stay, then Amodou Onana and Martin Zubimendi could actually be signings of the summer. But if Arsenal really want to sell Thomas Partey this January, then Amodou Onana is a name that we are actually currently monitoring. We'll be talking about Toney and the latest developments. Of course, Mikel Arteta has made it very clear that Tomiyasu, Edin Ketia, and Jakub Kivior at the moment are not for sale. They're part of his squad, they're part of his project, and he would love to keep them at the side. Tomiyasu, I agree. Kivior, I agree as well. We shouldn't sell. But with Edin Ketia, I'm not 100% convinced. I think Arsenal should get the money if it comes in. But also, I think Mikel Arteta is thinking about the summer and is going, what if someone can give us 60 million in Edin Ketia in the summer when this Arsenal squad is much better and we are stronger as a unit as well. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you so much for the love. Thank you so much for the following. It's actually doing a whole big advantage for me right here. So I want your thoughts there in the comment box below. Amodou Onana, what are your thoughts about him? You've seen him play in the Premier League. You've seen him at Everton. He's a very, very good player. But what is his best position? We have seen Sean Dyche play him in a more advanced position with Abdoulaye Doucouré as the left number 8 at times, stroke number 10, just like we have seen Odegaard and Kai Havertz or Xhaka. And then before Sean Dyche, we have seen Amodou Onana play in a box-to-box, kind of number 8. He's played as a 6 before. Do you think his profile is good for Arsenal and we would actually benefit from actually signing him this January transfer window? Right, let's get this video to 300 likes and let's dive into what the rumor is actually talking about. So let's start off with the Thomas Partey one, because it looks like Thomas Partey, and not only Thomas Partey, but Partey and a couple of other African players are under some pressure and they are going to be choosing to boycott the AFCON and stay at their respective clubs and fight for their places. So Thomas Partey, we know, is coming back, stronger and sure, according to Mikel Arteta. Very soon we'll have him fit. Very soon he will be able to represent any outfit that he actually decides to represent, whether that is Arsenal or Ghana in January. However, the feeling and the thought was that Partey will come back from injury and join up with Ghana right away, play for them around 4-5 games probably, or 6, and then come back at Arsenal in February, and then that is where we will actually pick up from where we left. However, that might not be the case. That might not be what's going to happen. Partey is rumored to be planning on boycotting the AFCON, with initial rumors coming out from Ghana saying that he was actually not called for the AFCON, for the AFCON tournament. Now, I think they want to call him Ghana. I think Ghana want to call Partey. They know how important he is. He is a senior player for them, and he's one of the most important players in that team. So if he's available and free from injury, there is no way Ghana are not going to call him, right? At least we know by the first day of January, which will be tomorrow, he will be fit. He will be available to play some football, at least, bare minimum football. So what I think, and this is really purely hypothetical, is Partey and his agent I've actually looked into it and they've gone, we've not played a whole season, and when I'm coming back from injury, I'm joining up with Ghana. I don't think my place at Arsenal is safe. I don't think I can compete with Jorginho, Jorginho and Declan Rice when I'm always injured and I'm always out playing for Ghana. So it could be one of the reasons. So Partey might actually boycott AFCON, and I don't know how I feel about this as an African, because the AFCON is an African tournament, and I'm not going to put Arsenal over Africa at the moment. I'm going to say, if Partey can join up with Ghana, give us a good tournament in in AFCON 2024. We've got to take the opportunity. We've got to take the chance, because you don't want a boring AFCON. You don't want a Ghana without its best players. You don't want Cameroon without its best players as well. So I'll prefer all these other players to actually come in Africa, play in AFCON, and face the consequences and repercussions a little bit later. But I do understand where Thomas Partey is coming from. I do understand why he wants to stay at Arsenal, why he wants to stay put and not go for AFCON. He wants to fight for his place. And listen, he's one of the players that are really under pressure at the moment. Even if he's not sold, he's not going to be starting every single game. Kai Havertz, Declan Rice, and Martin Odegaard are forming a strong partnership, and we have seen it threatened without Kai Havertz in the West Ham game. So that means that Mikel Arteta is finding, slowly and surely, he's finding footing with the right angles and dimensions to his midfield. So if Thomas Partey does not come back quicker to disrupt this the stability in the midfield, he's going to have to go. It's as simple as that. So I think that's what he's looking at as a player, in that regard. But of course, I would love him to stay. I would love him to come to AFCON. I'm just going to say, may the best side win. If Arsenal, win with a better gravitational pull and he stays, definitely that's good. If Ghana can actually apply a little bit of science to their gravity, and then they can pull him over to AFCON, it would be good for African football. It would be very, very good for us as as a continent, to have the likes of Partey, Salah, and all these other crazy guys that are really playing good football. The likes of Muhammad Kudus join up in AFCON. Okay, so let's talk about that Premier League duo that Arsenal are tracking. Let's start off with the big story on Amodou Onana, because it's the one that we've not talked about a lot, and I'll do a separate video on Amodou Onana and why I think he is an absolute genius of a signing if Arsenal actually have identified him as one of the transfer targets that we are looking at in the January or even come the summer of 2024. So reports right from The Athletic have already reported that Arsenal are tracking Andre Onana. They like him, they like his profile, and Mikel Arteta has always looked at him and he's appreciated him. We had a chance to sign Amodou Onana right from 2022 in the summer, in the summer of 2022, when he joined Everton. And Arsenal just blew the chance, right? Arsenal just blew the chance. He was there for the taking. He was there for us to go. If we sign Amodou Onana, in 2022, we don't actually spend huge amounts of money in 2023. But I bet right now he's going to cost in excess of 45 million euros. And I still think it's not big money, and I still think that is the right amount for Arsenal to pay for a player like Amodou Onana. But why I like Onana? He's young, he's energetic, and I think he's got that midfield general feeling about him. He's just gonna get better. He's just gonna get better. He's one player that is so confident, very, very confident. His physicality, obviously, speaks volumes about his game. In this Arsenal side, I think if there is one player that I would bring in from the Premier League right now in midfield, that would be Amodou Onana. I don't think there's so many options that you can think about. I think Sander Budget Burnley, quite a decent player, isn't he? He's quite a decent lad. I mean, Arsenal have wanted him before, but I think Amodou Onana is such a talent. He's such a beautiful, beautiful footballer. So Arsenal would love to test the waters in January, and I think the situation is going to be very clear. Everton have made it very clear. We are surviving relegation, and you expect us to sell our best players? Are you smoking something? No, we are not. So that means that Amodou Onana might not be available on the transfer market in January. And Ghana Blog was saying, through a piece on The Athletic, that if Arsenal want to get any of their targets, whether it's in the midfield, whether it's in attack, it's going to take significant offers that we cannot make at the moment. So most of these deals might be done actually in the summer, and I kind of agree. But Amodou Onana, my God, if Partey is to go, if Jorginho is to go, like reports are saying this morning that Partey and Jorginho are both on the market right now. Arsenal have told them, you can leave. We will sell you. If both of them are on the market, one player to replace them. That would be Amodou Onana. Now, can we do an initial loan deal on him and pay in the summer? I don't think so. I think it's gonna be 45 million for us to shake up that Everton foundation, and if we can test their resolve and they budge into the lucrative offers that we make, then we can sign him. But it's one that I would really love to see how it actually goes about. It's something with Martin Zubimendi. I have a story on Martin Zubimendi, by the way, and a couple of other stories on players from Spain and the Netherlands. But Arsenal also looking at a way of trying to afford Martin Zubimendi in January. So if Zubimendi doesn't come, but we can afford him, then you can go and sign Amodou Onana. He's such a nice guy. He's such a nice footballer. Him and Abdoulaye Doucouré, those are the two players I've looked at Everton, and I'm like, I wish they were Arsenal. I wish they were Arsenal players. I really do like Abdoulaye Doucouré. I really do like Amodou Onana. Doucouré is older now, so Onana is the guy on is the stylish guy to go for. And it wouldn't really hurt. It wouldn't really hurt for us to sign, Amodou Onana. Now, Ivan Toney is the second part of the pair, and it looks like we've talked about him a lot of the time. The Athletic have also talked about him a couple of times, and I've reported, all that. But the Ghana blog says something very interesting. And he says it looks like Arsenal are aware of what they need to do to sign Ivan Toney. Now, that is a very difficult situation, because they want 100 million. So you knowing that they want 100 million doesn't change anything, does it? It still remains they want 100. You can't afford it. So what do you do? Where do you go from here? But I think this is what we do, and this is what I would do with Ivan Toney. Arsenal have a chance that Brentford have a small liking in Eddie Nketiah, and they do need a striker as well. Brentford have lost their last 5 games, and I don't know whether the problem is defensive or game control in midfield, or even on the offensive. I mean, Thomas Frank knows better, and they're now flirting with relegation. They will need to be very careful. So if you give them Eddie Nketiah right now, and they give you Ivan Toney, and then you can top up on top, a few coins on top, or a few millions on top. It will depend on the valuation of both players. Then we might actually have a deal. We might have a deal in January. I think a team flirting with relegation doesn't want to keep a player that doesn't want to be there. It's disastrous. It is absolutely catastrophic. It's imagine if Arsenal had not sold Alex Sombelong, or if Arsenal had not sold Robin van Persie, or if Arsenal had not sold the likes of Alexis Sanchez. When a player wants to go, and when a player wants to move on, that's it. Ivan Toney wants to go. Ivan Toney wants to move in January. He wants to move in the next week, right? He wants to move next week. He doesn't want to be there. And Brentford know, and they know it could be disastrous to the dressing room. So for me, the fact that they're fighting relegation, the fact that they will need that kind of extra concentration might be one of the reasons why Arsenal get Ivan Toney in January. They'll go, let us sell you, retain our conscience, retain our peace of mind, and concentrate on our goal, which is finishing top 10. I think Brentford can still finish top 10. They're a decent side. They're a very good side. They just have to they have to figure it out. Like, Thomas Frank is a good guy, good manager, brilliant manager. He's got to figure it out. And probably January could be one of those windows that, force them into spending. And how much do they spend? Around maybe 50 million. Where do they get that money? They might need to sell in order to buy. Okay, Mikel Arteta has made it very clear that his players, Tomiyasu, Nketiah, and Kivio, at the moment, are not touchable. They are untouchable. So there have been reports of Tomiyasu being wanted at Bayern, and I think the reports of Tomiyasu going to Bayern have come from a very reliable source, the Bild. And I think it comes from the fact that Tomiyasu's contract is not yet extended, and he has shown a lot of quality in the past few games. So clubs will be interested. Clubs will try to take advantage, right? I don't have a problem if they can give us Jamal Musiala and we give them Tomiyasu. What a swap deal. That is one of the best swap deals in this century. Get it done. But if it's about them taking Tomiyasu and giving us a few coins on top, I don't even care. I don't care about that. A swap deal between Tomiyasu and Matthias de Ligt, could it happen? You never know, because Bayern don't actually fancy him the way they fancied him when he's coming from Juventus. Arsenal really like Tomiyasu and would love to keep him. If Tomiyasu signs a new deal and we sell him to Bayern, we can actually buy Matthias de Ligt from there. But Mikel says Tomiyasu at the moment is untouchable. The same with Edin Ketia. Crystal Palace, West Ham, Brentford, they're all interested. But Mikel is saying the same thing. Guys, stay away. I don't want to sell. I'm not giving you Eddie at this moment. If you want to buy him, talk to me about him in the summer and I'll give you a proper response. At the moment, it's a straight no to your faces. Jakub Kiwior is one that actually has sparked a lot of debate and, in the aftermath of the story coming out that Arsenal were willing to sell Kiwior. And I think he's one that Arsenal would love to sell, but not really now, right? So Jakub Kiwior, we bought in for 21 million euros. If a club comes in and they're offering 35 million euros, an extra 15 million in profit, Arsenal should be able to sell, and Arsenal will be able to sell. But at the moment, we can't weaken our defense in an attempt to actually, strengthen it. I mean, I'm hearing rumors of Arsenal signing Joro Hato. I'll talk about Joro Hato, from Ajax. 17 years to actually replace Jakub Kiwior, a player with more experience. I'm not even buying into that. But of course, that is the latest around the club. We'll be talking about Martin Zubamendi later. Arsenal willing to trigger his release clause. We are interested in Sergi Roberto. We also have interest in Joro Hato, like I've said. So all that and more will be coming your way on the channel very, very soon.